One of the most common symptoms that a lot of people struggle with is fatigue, right? Just feeling tired all of the time. And I think it's really important to tune into fatigue if it's showing up in your body or you work with clients who are struggling with fatigue, because it actually tells us a lot about what is out of balance with the body. And so let's talk a little bit about fatigue today because when I'm working with clients as a functional nutrition practitioner and clinical herbalist, and I have a client who's struggling with fatigue, which is a lot of my clients. I work with a lot of clients who have more kind of chronic and complex health concerns. And fatigue is not an unusual thing for my clients to deal with. But when they tell me, they're struggling with low energy, I really want to know more about that pattern because, again, it can tell a lot about what's going on with the body, what is out of balance, what needs support. And then we know the right strategies to use to help clients get their energy back. And I'm going to share some of those strategies, especially some herbal strategies for energy before we wrap up. So stay tuned. But again, I just want to really hone in on this idea that leaning into this fatigue that's showing up in your life or in your clients and piecing out what's going on is really important because fatigue really does affect everything, doesn't it? If we're too tired to just show up in life, do the things we want to do and love to do and even need to do, can really affect your quality of life. So let's talk a little bit about fatigue, some of the patterns to look for, what they might mean, and what you can do to get your energy back on track. I have a free guide down below that I'll let you know about as well. It is my guide to assessing your neurotransmitters. It's called my Mood Fix Assessment. And this is a good place to start as well because, along with fatigue, I often see patterns of depression or anxiety showing up in my clients. And starting by supporting your neurotransmitters with nutrient and herbal support can make a big difference there. So, check that out. Or if you are a holistic professional or aspiring herbalist, and you're ready to learn more about how to work with the nervous system biology from an herbal medicine approach, I have a free masterclass below that you can check out to learn more. So let's talk about fatigue because, again, such a vital signal and symptom to tune into. And I think a lot of people just kind of get used to fatigue, right? They just think I'm getting older or I've been working too hard, staying up too late. Those things are important to address as well. But I think we should have good, sustainable energy throughout our day, even as we get older, and be focused and alert and active and, it's normal, of course, to feel tired when we've been active and engaged and busy. And things like an afternoon nap can be a normal part of a healthy routine and getting enough sleep at night. But what about when this fatigue is kind of taking over your life and you're noticing that you're tired all the time or crashing at different times during the day? Let's talk about a few patterns that this might mean for you. So, one common pattern that I see in clients is this fatigue that shows up after they eat a meal, and especially a meal that has some carbohydrate in it, right? Like maybe potatoes or pasta, or maybe they have something with sugar, right? Like a cookie or something like that. And about 30 minutes or so later, all of a sudden they're really sleepy. This can indicate that they have some blood sugar dysregulation, and specifically, it is often associated with a pattern of insulin resistance, where the body isn't responding to insulin. So we eat some carbohydrate, our blood sugar goes up, but because of chronic blood sugar dysregulation, the body, the cells can stop responding to insulin, so that blood sugar can be chronically elevated, and we're not burning that glucose of our energy. So we're even though we're eating and we're eating carbohydrates, we're not actually getting the energy. And often that can be stored then as excess body weight, as fat, especially around the middle. So that might be another kind of sign to look for and kind of assess if insulin resistance might be one of the reasons why you're struggling with fatigue. And of course, you can do some basic lab work here that might give you some information like your fasting glucose and fasting insulin and an HbA1c can be really valuable. But again, we can tell a lot just by how these symptoms of fatigue are showing up in your body. So if you find yourself crashing after meals, especially those high carb meals, that is definitely something to address and look at supporting insulin resistance. But that's not the only kind of pattern of fatigue that I see in my clients. Another pattern I see is maybe like waking up tired in the morning or feeling really tired all morning, and then maybe like having better energy in the late afternoon or early afternoon, and then maybe tired again in the evening, or maybe that energy sustains until bedtime. But it's sort of like this imbalance in our cortisol that is impacting our circadian rhythm. And this is a pattern that's often referred to as adrenal fatigue. I know not every practitioner loves that phrase, but I do find it helpful in just describing this pattern of disrupted adrenal function that really shows up as fatigue. And, again, there can be different patterns around how that fatigue shows up, but generally, what you'll find is someone is waking up tired in the morning, or maybe they're waking up with energy, but then they're kind of crashing late morning or early afternoon. And then again, they may pick up their energy a little bit later in the afternoon. It can also be impacted by, your kind of your daily routine and how you're managing your energy throughout the day. But those cyclical like flat crashes in your energy, to me, indicate a need to support adrenal function. And can be related to blood sugar as well. So these things kind of all play into one another. And that is especially true when we think about this third pattern of low energy, which is just feeling tired and really fatigued all the time, right? Like you never really seem to get your energy back and feel good. Maybe you have a few little moments of time, like maybe you took a nap and you woke up and you have a little energy for a little while, or you feel good one day, but the next day, because you felt good, you try to get a lot done, and then the next day you're crashing, right? This to me is a level of fatigue that's a little bit deeper. And this is what I would call mitochondrial dysfunction, right? Again, just feeling constantly tired, maybe crashing after you try to exercise, or you just kind of overdo it in your day-to-day life with like cleaning the house and getting groceries and working and all the things we have to do. So that can be, again, a deeper level of fatigue, which at the mitochondrial level or the cellular level means we're just not making energy efficiently. Could be due to the fact that our mitochondrial function is impaired in some way, could be due to toxins or chronic infections. And in fact, sometimes this can progress to the point where someone is diagnosed with something like fibromyalgia or autoimmune conditions or chronic fatigue syndrome that really indicate there's this deeper layer of detoxification and toxic load that is impacting the body's ability to make energy, and it's impacting the mitochondria specifically. But kind of wrapping around all of those different patterns is something that's more related to the nervous system. And I think this is really vital to understand as well. And understanding this in my own life, as I was someone who struggled with thyroid disorders in my early, even teens, really, wasn't diagnosed until my 20s. But I was always tired at that age in my life, even again, like teenager in my early 20s, struggling with fatigue. And I was put on thyroid medication in my 20s, but it never really seemed to help me feel better, right? I still felt tired a lot. And I remember talking to my, like my doctor at that time who had put me on medication and telling her that I just never really felt like I had energy despite, this medication that was supposed to be helping with thyroid function. And this was a long time before I truly understood what was happening in my body. And she just told me basically that like, sorry, this is just the way it is, right? Like, there's never really gonna, the medication isn't really gonna ever get to that point of fixing the problem, which I understand that now, but I remember being just really discouraged in, again, like my early 20s, maybe mid 20s at this point, of just hearing that, like, sorry, you're probably just gonna always be tired. And it just seemed like there had to be a better way. And it was around that time I started learning about how things like toxins and infections and food issues, food like gluten can cross-react with the thyroid. And so, as I began to learn that, I began to understand what was happening with my thyroid. And I also began to understand how a nervous system response can actually impact our energy as well. And so, when you think about the nervous system and how important it is in our day to day life and how it impacts energy, we know that when we need to take action, we have this stress response that shows up, right? Cortisol is that stress hormone that kicks into play. And it's actually a good thing, right? When we need to take action. But if we have this chronic imbalance in the way that our body releases these hormones, these stress hormones, eventually we can hit this point called chronic. What we might call like a chronic freeze pattern of the nervous system, where on a nervous system level, we're just so overwhelmed. We've just had so much stress on the body, or this can be related to trauma, all types of trauma, not just the what we might call big T trauma. Someone's been in a car accident or had some kind of um, traumatic event happen in their life that often is a trigger for a chronic freeze pattern that shows up as low energy. And recognizing the state of the nervous system and then supporting and addressing that, I have found to be absolutely vital in helping clients get their energy back on track. But when it comes to this level of struggling with your energy, again, whether it's just some crashes after you've eaten a meal, or you're having some different patterns of high and low energy throughout the day, or your energy seems to be constantly crashed, there's a lot we can look at and do to support these levels. And again, each one kind of really feeds into that next level of fatigue and that next issue. So blood sugar can lead to adrenal issues, can lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. They all play a role. And so, what do we do about fatigue? Because again, I want to encourage you that this is something you really need to tune into and ask why that fatigue is showing up and what your body needs to support optimal energy levels, because that energy impacts everything that we do in life. And this is, again, really important if you are a practitioner who works with clients. Don't overlook these root causes of low energy so you can help your clients get their life back. There are a number of ways to address this. As I mentioned, I look at nutrient deficiencies, working on blood sugar, digestion, detoxification, adrenal support. But one of my go-to methods as an herbalist is using herbal support and especially adrenals, or excuse me, adaptogens, in order to support my clients, because I find that adaptogenic herbs, they hit all the boxes in everything we've been talking about. We have a lot of adaptogens that help with regulating our glucose response and insulin response in the body, like Tulsi, like American ginseng, for example. We know as well that all adaptogens help to regulate that HPA axis response to stress. So that's that adrenal support that the body needs to get energy back. But there's a lot of interesting research as well on how mitochondrial dysfunction, of course, playing a role in fatigue, and all of our adaptogens have been shown to support mitochondrial function, right? The rebuilding and the strengthening of our mitochondria so we can create more energy at the cellular level, which is really important. And so, other adaptogens, even ashwagandha or shizandra, many of our adaptogens are going to work on all these different levels of low energy, including the nervous system, which is one thing I really love about herbal support, is that it works on all levels, right? The mind, body, even the spiritual level, right? And as well as that physical level to help support whatever is out of balance that our body needs in order to create more energy, to feel strong and safe and alert and active. And that is that truly that nervous system response where we're engaged with life, we're supported, we feel like we're showing up in life in the way that we want. And so that's what I want for you, and as a practitioner as well, what you want for your clients so that they can get their life back on track. And I will be so grateful for you to help them do that. So make sure, if you are a holistic practitioner or aspiring herbalist, check out the free masterclass below where I'll talk about how to work with the nervous system response from a root cause herbal medicine approach. And you can also grab below for anyone who's interested in learning more about how to support your mood and neurotransmitters from a holistic herbal medicine approach. Grab that free guide below and make sure to hit subscribe as well, because I've got more information I want to share with you on how to get your energy back on track and support your body with holistic approaches, including herbal medicine.